All right, welcome back, one and all. Thanks so much for joining today. This is Aluminum Tarot. We're going to now do the sign of Libra. So this is Libra season, so happy birthday, Librans out there. Scales are upon you. Now, before we get started with everything, order of the day is, as always, if you like what you see here, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding that notification bell so that you don't miss any updates from the future postings on here. And also be sure to comment and tell us how this relates to you and your life below. Additionally, if you would like a personal reading with me, one that is in tune with your specific energies, please be sure to give me a holler, if you want to call it that, in the information provided in the description box below. That said, we're going to go on to some of the different transits, especially taking place during Libra season. The very first one here is going to be the solar eclipse in your sign in the 2nd of October, which is going to deal a lot with relationships, legal matters, balancing out between two opposing forces or like forces. So if you're currently going through any kind of legal disputes, if you're currently dealing with anything like imbalances in relationships and whatnot, this will shed some light on that, definitely, by purging and releasing what no longer serves us in that particular part. So find out where Libra is in your house. On the very opposite end of the spectrum, we have in Aries, we have a full moon on the 17th of October. So we're going from a solar eclipse to a full moon in Aries. So Libra to Aries, eclipsing sun to a full moon. Very, very interesting energies here where we're going to find things going quite topsy-turvy. One of the things that's definitely going to fuel that topsy-turviness is going to be the Pluto going direct in Capricorn on the 12th of October. That is really going to shake things up. So we're already seeing a bit of that taking place within the political sphere, the economic sphere. Economy is going a bit strange, and definitely politics around the world is heating up. There's a lot of chaos, and I think that a lot of that chaos is going to get thrown out. We'll probably see some leaders step down. We'll probably see some wars pop off. And may the force be with you on that one, because it's going to turn into a bit of a dive. So be mindful of that. We also have Mercury in Libra, square Pluto. Now, what we're seeing, one of the things that popped into my head about all of this is that we're seeing more things based on negotiations. So these are mergers and acquisitions within companies. These are political negotiations in, military conflicts. I think we'll come back to that. However, when Mercury goes from Libra into the sign of Scorpio, I think that's going to create some additional fuel to the fire for the Pluto and Capricorn. So these things are going to take place between the 12th and the 13th of October. Pluto going direct in Capricorn on the 12th, Mercury in Libra square Pluto on the 12th, moving into Mercury in Scorpio on the 13th. We will also have Sun opposing Chiron on the 14th of October, which also talks about addressing wounds or places in our life where we have difficulty healing or facing our shadow side, things of that nature. You do know about the whole Chiron mythology, where Chiron was a centaur, and basically it was skilled in martial arts, skilled in healing, skilled in medicine, archery, things of that nature. One day, Chiron is wounded by a poison arrow, and despite all of his best efforts, he's unable to heal himself, so he sacrifices himself and becomes a constellation amongst the stars. And what this symbolizes, places where we do have to kind of make that sacrifice in order to get over the pain and the traumas that we carry from ourselves from the past. And so that's going to be a very prevalent theme going into October, I think, leading all the way down to Halloween. For some reason, I'm getting that. Finally, with the full moon in Aries, we do have that on the 17th of October. That is basically moving us into a period of from introspection and meditation from the full moon in Pisces earlier this month to the full moon in Aries, where everything starts to take action. We're no longer in a period of stagnation. As you know, Pisces rules the hangman. It is a period in time in which we will no longer need to think so much about things or to contemplate or meditate about things, we will now be moving from that stagnant energy into swift action. Because we do have Neptune and Pisces, that is being a bit of a slog, making everything nervous and not really sure what's going to take place or happen next. So if you've been in a kind of a bit of a funk where you're just not really certain if you're going to have a job or if you're going to have like a love in your life or if you're going to be able to move, things like that will finally start to clear out. So that said, we're going to go straight into the sign of Libra, sun, moon, and rising. So if you're one of those three, this reading is for you. I'm going to go ahead and concentrate on the cards now so I can get the full energy from that and then get back to you after then. So, Libra, sun, moon, and rising for October 2024. Libra, sun, moon, and rising for October 2024. Here in the number 6, balance, harmony. All right, let's get started. Current energy for Libra. Okay, that popped out. 4 of Cups. What is the challenge? That's a lot to be a challenge, so I'm going to read this in a different way. I'm going to have a quick look at those cards when we do the full reading. Put that on the side. What happened in the recent past? Okay, what happened in the near future? What's taking place in the near future? Yeah, the Fool here, and what was this? King of Pentacles in the reverse. Was that the core of the street? World in reverse. What's that, the crown? Is that the crown here? 6 of Pentacles in the reverse. What is the penultimate outcome? What is the penultimate outcome? Ace of Wands. Very nice. And what is the signifier for this reading? Judgment. So, a lot going on here. Bottom of the deck we have here the 8 of Swords. That came out for Sagittarius as well. We are looking into a period in which we're trying to get over a bit of mental anguish, conflict, and keeping ourselves stuck within an intellectual capacity. So, for example, someone who ruminates about things too much, who's too stuck in their head, they have to get out of it to alleviate some of those mental stresses and finally have clarity on something they need to do. Because the person is loosely bound in those cloths in the traditional Rider-Waite 8 of Swords, and they can easily slip out and go to the castle behind. So we see here, we have the 4 of Cups as how you are now. You're basically kind of staying to yourself, making sure that you kind of tend to your own energy. Normally, it can deal with a couple of things. And one of the things that Chris Reck from Minnow Pond Tarot was talking about is that sometimes the 4 of Cups can be a period in your life that goes on kind of a hamster wheel, where you have rejection after rejection after rejection, or you've had the 3 of Cups with a group of people and now you just kind of want to be left alone. That's one way it can manifest. Another way is if you've experienced the same thing over and over again, people offering their cup to you only to find out it's not really what you wanted. And so on the fourth cup, you're just saying, no, in order for me to preserve my emotional stability, I'm not going to get involved in this fourth cup. So number fours typically talk about stability and groundedness, which is the same card of the Emperor. Four of Wands, things like that. So in this, that is the reason why they are rejecting the fourth cup, because maybe they've had a bit too much to drink. We want to kind of push away those three of cups, the parties, all the crazy energy all over the place. We need to get solid. We've had one too many heartbreaks, disappointments, poured out cups. We're taking the fourth cup and putting it to the side to get back into our emotional stability. Now, so what we have here also, we see here we have three cards as the challenge. The first is the Eight of Cups in the reverse. The Eight of Cups in the reverse normally talks about people who are unable to walk away to get the things that they truly want. Being stuck on someone in a romantic sense, it can talk about someone who can't walk away from a significant other that they're with. It can talk about not being able to walk away from a job. It can talk about not being able to walk away from a situation or a place within your life that you should and that you need to move away from in order to find your Nine of Cups, which is your true wish fulfillment. You also have here you have number four, which is what we were talking about. That's the second one. That is the Emperor. So it's about taking control, being in charge of your own destiny, trying to make things work for you. And then we have a Six of Cups here in the reverse. So it can be thinking negatively about the past, thinking negatively about certain situations taking place in the future that have been influenced by your past. So this gives me strong, okay, you may be doing one of two things. You're in Four of Cups because you can't walk away from something. You're trying to control the outcome of the situation a bit because you're feeling negative about what happened to you in the past. That's one way it can manifest. The other way is that you're unable to walk away from a person who's an Emperor, who could be an Aries in your situation. And what that talks about is a person who can be a husband, a father figure, or a boss. Someone that when you deal with them, they give you terrible feelings about things they've done to you in the past, but is kind of like a trauma bond that has formed between the two of you. And it makes it difficult for you to step away from that person because it's familiar territory for you. So heavy energy there. Libra has had this long-standing saga between themselves and someone that they're either divorcing or getting away from, or not necessarily, they're in a poor situation, a poorly situation, and they're trying to control the outcome of that scenario, getting back with that person or getting something out of that person. And this is more of a continuation of what we see from that. We're going to quickly look at the Knight of Swords in the reverse. So there could be no communication. What is the Knight of Swords in the reverse about? So Knight of Swords is about the Four of Wands, and what else? Clarify the Knight of Swords in the reverse. So the Knight of Swords in the reverse is about a failure to communicate, or a lack of communication, or a lack of action. The reason why this is because the home life was disturbed by a divorce. You have a Four of Wands here and a Justice in the reverse, clarifying the Knight of Swords in the reverse. You may be on a break from this person, a separation. And the reason why is because the home life here is the Four of Wands, and the Justice in the reverse is basically a separation, a divorce, a lack of balance or fairness within the home situation. So it's forced you to move away. It could also be forcing you to confront some inner truths within yourself that maybe you have to learn about what is taking place here. But intuitively, that's what I see here. The reason why I say that is because we have the Judgment as the signifier for all of the energies around here, waiting for a second chance with someone. And this could be putting your life on hold, because we do have the World here as your main card that is at the core of all of this, not being able to move on to the next phase of your life because you're wrapped up in this cycle that keeps going around. And I did mention the hamster wheel, and this does kind of look like a little bit of a hamster wheel right here, but of course this is the World card. Cards symbolized by Tiamat, which is in Babylonian mythology, and also Jormungand in the Norse mythology, Leviathan in the Judeo-Christian belief system, and so on and so on. A large serpent eating its own tail, the Ouroboros. Well, when it's unable to eat its own tail, when it's unable to complete that cycle of creative destruction, it leaves things very stagnant. And that's kind of where you felt like yourself was at in your romantic situation. We then move into the future, which is the Knight of Cups. No, not the Knight of Cups. Sorry, why did I say that? It's the King of Pentacles in the reverse and the Fool. So the King of Pentacles is normally a person that's very astute, abundant. They're able to make their own money and rest on the fruits of their labor. The King of Pentacles in the reverse, however, is a person who's greedy, selfish, doesn't give a shit about you or someone else. And furthermore, what they do is they tend to bury themselves in work. And then we have the Fool here, card number 0. We have basically taking a leap of faith into something like that. So it's almost like you are burying yourself in your work, or perhaps you're taking a risk on someone who is buried within their work. I'm going to clarify this because I want to make sure that this is absolutely what we're looking at. Clarify the King of Pentacles in the reverse and the Fool. Clarify the King of Pentacles in the reverse and the Fool. So, Five of Wands in the reverse. Clarify that a bit more. Clarify these more. Okay, so whereas in Sagittarius we had the Ten of Cups in, let's see, we had Ten of Cups in the upright. We have here the Ten of Cups in the reverse and the Six of Swords. This is almost like you giving up the conflict, giving up the battle to remain in this situation with someone or something. And what you're instead doing, you're laying your swords down, you're accepting defeat because it makes you unhappy where you are now. And you are moving into a new territory from a very difficult situation into a situation where you will be a bit more emotionally stable and mentally stable. Because I can see that this may have had a very taxing effect on your life to date. And what you're doing right now is you're trying to find something else to preoccupy your mind with, which is probably going to be work. That's kind of what I see here. Maybe you can have a new start by getting a job that keeps you busy and keeps you away from the emotions that you feel and helps you to get over that. I know that Rich Luck always talks about maybe perhaps like when you want to heal from something, you normally have to just kind of bury yourself in work and try to create something out of the destruction and the chaos that took place in the past. That's fine, but eventually you will need to address those things as time passes. We have at the very core of this whole reading is the World. Clarify the World. Knight of Cups in the reverse. And so we got Judgment here twice. Judgment is the signifier for this deck. We also got it here for what's at the core of the reading. So you were waiting for a second chance. You were waiting for a judgment call, the time to make a decision. And maybe you may have been in two minds about this in the past, But when the Judgment card is clarified twice, and I'm now starting to get quite a few of these synchronicities within the cards, it's a clear indication that the energies are moving in sync with one another, and that it is clarifying doubly what this is about. Judgment is the overall energy here. Judgment is what's at the core. You're waiting for a second chance, or you're waiting for a resolution to something. Typically in the Judgment card, we have people rising from their old lives, going into a new phase of their life after being called upon by the angel Gabriel. And what that does is that talks about relinquishing the past for the future. That plays directly into the world, because what we have here, the World card comes after the Judgment card. So that is about completing the cycle by receiving the word, the get-go, that you can now wrap this cycle up. So that's what it's telling here. But what's going on here is that due to the closed emotions, due to the lack of communication or action in the emotional sphere, it's almost like you're waiting because you haven't addressed potentially the impact this has made on your emotions. And now what you're going to do is you're moving now into a period where you can say, okay, I want this to end. I need to go ahead and address this so that way I can move on into the next phase of my life, take that full leap into the unknown. So with the card at the top, we have the Six of Pentacles. Clarify the Six of Pentacles, please. The Hierophant. So Six of Pentacles in the reverse normally talks about unequal give and take. And with this, we have this on the material world, the material level. We talk about personal finances, shared finances. We talk about time, value, money, the way you see yourself as well, what you give to the table, what you bring to the table rather. And the reason why this is so is because of the Hierophant. So the Hierophant represents a marriage card. It's number 5. It also talks about changes, significant changes that people go through in their life with the number 5 due to following age-old tradition. So interestingly enough, there is the Hierophant holds one hand up and one hand down, which represents as above, so below. We talk about the Hierophant also being an agent of change by allowing people to understand the past. It is what I like to refer to as the Sankofa card, where we are talking about looking back in order to move forward. And this is very important for people, and this is what has sustained civilization and society for ages, for eons, a long, long time, millennia. Looking into this, the Hierophant is also a teacher, so it talks about lessons that we need to learn and things that we have received from past things that we have done in a commitment or a relationship. In the traditional Rider-Waite, we have the Hierophant speaking to 2 initiates, giving them the keys to the universe. And in this, what I kind of feel is that you recognize that the commitment that you have given in the past has been one-sided. It has not been equal give and take. And additionally, it is difficult for you to want to give to this in the future, even though you were trying to do so. Because at the bottom of the deck, we have here the Magician wanting to manifest something. Clarify Six of Pentacles again. Clarify the Six of Pentacles again. Nine of Swords in the reverse. Interestingly enough, so the Hierophant is the consort to the High Priestess. The High Priestess receives information from within. The Hierophant gives the information from without. So it's about learning to receive the call. So it's almost like when you want this Judgment call, It's almost like you're receiving it through the relationship that you've had, through your commitment, the things that you give to and that you pour your energy into, the things that you initiate your life into in order for it to take shape. With the Hierophant here, it could just be the relationship, the commitment that you had. You're finally getting over the pain of it, the mental anguish it's put you through because you're no longer giving to it. On a deeper, more spiritual level, you could say that it is the lessons that you have learned, which are finally getting you away from this period of heartbreak and chaos, sleepless nights, things of that nature. We're going to move on. I don't want to ramble too much, but we have the Ace of Wands here as your final outcome. Clarify the Ace of Wands. Three of Swords, Three of Cups. So you have 2 threes. You have the Ace of Wands, and this is all about a new start. The reason why you're having this new start is because you realize that from the past, you have experienced nothing but heartbreak, and that you experienced nothing but betrayal. Three of Cups in the reverse normally talks about when the party's over. If the cups are poured out, people have left the building. It can also talk about betrayal in the sense of third-party relationships, where there are more than 2 people. That one person doesn't know that their person has someone else. And so you can almost see it here because you have these people. He's looking up and he sees that there's another person on top of his head, another person on top of their head, and so on and so on. So it's almost like people have been keeping secrets about who they're interacting with. And it comes as a surprise to this character here. So I would just say this, Libra, like during the course of October, which is going to be your season, you have a massive shift away from what you have known. You are no longer going to be giving to something that has refused to give back to you in the past. You are going to be giving to things that will be worth your while and finally taking that initiative to move forward, because in the very end you have the Ace of Wands. That is the card of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. It is an action-inspired card, and what it does, I would say this relates more to Aries. It's the initial spark that you need in order to set off on a new path. Now, what you're going to need to do, take that, run with it, understand the lessons that you learned from the past when it came to dealing with, people who were of less caliber than you made them to be. Oftentimes, Libras really care about their relationships with other people, so much to the point where they're willing to sacrifice themselves. That is the reason why Sun in Libra is typically a detriment card, because it is the weakest expression of the Sun. Sun in the 7th house is similar to that. So what we're looking at now, you're going to need to step into more fiery energy and less like this Libra energy. Make that movement forward. Your judgment is awaiting you. You have 2 cards here that have similar energies. You can kind of see it. Your old life, you're rising above the ashes into the new, and you're going to do it with this Ace of Wands here. So I'll pull you a quick card from the Moonology deck, since we are talking about full moons and lunar eclipses and all that good stuff, and then we'll wrap it up. Right. What's the story? What's the advice? So, as what we were talking about in the past, Step out of your comfort zone. That is the North Node here. And what this tells us to do is, in order for you to make that cycle close out, to receive your judgment, you're going to have to take the leap of faith. The Fool card, which was here, indicated in your near future. Step out of your comfort zone, and that's the way you're going to be able to take that leap of faith. I think you're on the right path to doing this. Just be sure that, you have the courage and the integrity enough to do so. Never keep yourself in a position where you are hindered in your progress due to your attachments to people from the past who have put you in a trauma bond. I'm going to leave it pretty much there, but it's very, very clear advice to you on that. So thanks again. This has been Aluminum Tarot. Thanks so much for joining today. As always, if you like what you see here, please be sure to give a like, a share, subscribe, ding that notification bell so that you don't miss any updates from future postings. And additionally, feel free to comment below how this is reflected in your specific life, because no two Libras are alike. That's why when you say, does it resonate? Of course, it's not your story. Why would it? Also, if you would like a personal reading with me, one that is in tune with your specific energies and not the energies of the collective, feel free to reach out to me at the information provided in the description box below. Till next time, thanks so much, and love and light.